John King, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I met you for the first time in 2016. I came in the States to cover the elections for the Romanian public. And in Washington, everybody was saying Hillary Clinton is going to be the next president. Almost everybody. I met you on the rooftop, and I was asking you for a prediction. John, what do you think? What is going to happen? And you said something different. Well, everything is possible, my friend. What is going to happen next year? Everything is possible?
Everything is possible, including the possibility that Donald Trump wins again. As we have this conversation now, he is, by a huge margin, the favorite for the Republican nomination. So Trump still has to prove himself. Republican voters still have to vote what they now think. But we now know at least half the party in most states is for Trump. And so, as of today, it is likely, not guaranteed, but likely Trump will be the Republican nominee. And if you look at all the polling data, he can beat Joe Biden. Doesn't mean Joe Biden can't beat him. But what's going to happen? The one thing that looks fairly certain, right now it looks like it will be Trump versus Biden. That is not a guarantee. I think what is certain is no matter who it is, we're going to have another, like 2012, like 2016, like 2020, a very close election. And like 2016 and 2020, probably 50 to 100,000 votes in 3 or 4 states are going to decide the next American president. In a country of 320 million people, that's crazy.
What is going on with the Democratic Party? They will say, well, the things are not looking good, but we are staying with President Biden. It is a chance to see another candidate from the Democratic Party?
In 2016, what did I say? Rule nothing out. We live in this age of volatility, so rule nothing out. But Biden wants to be the Democratic candidate. Biden believes in his head, despite his age, despite the other issues in the polls that show him to be very weak right now politically, very, very weak right now politically, he believes that it is his mission to end Donald Trump, to push Donald Trump essentially off the map of American politics by beating him twice. That's what he believes. Now, if you look at the polling, you're right. He's incredibly vulnerable right now. The difference from 2020 is that Donald Trump lived in the White House then. He was the incumbent president. It is Joe Biden asking the American people for 4 more years. And they have serious doubts about his age, serious doubts about his stamina. Is he up for the job? Does he have the physical and mental energy for the most important job in the world, many people argue. And there are also a lot of doubts about his economic policies. And the president can say the U.S. economy is doing actually pretty well, much better than most economies around the world. But because of inflation and because of the COVID pandemic before that, the American people are kind of exhausted. And they don't believe it. They are not convinced yet that the economy is in a better place. And if Joe Biden does not change that psychology, that Americans think the country's heading in the wrong direction, very tough for an incumbent to win in that environment.
Let's talk a little bit about Donald Trump. All his problems was helping him. He was growing in the polls with indictments. What is going to happen in the next period of time will be a little bit different, with probably a live trial in Georgia, with all the other problems. The American public will have a view about not just about a short news about indictment, will be something else. I mean, watching a trial with evidence and everything. What do you think is going to happen? We know very clear that Donald Trump is so happy when he is playing a huge role, like we saw that. What do you think is going to happen? Is going to help him anymore or not?
That's a great question. So I think you have to look at this 2 ways. All of the evidence before us says in the Republican primary with his voters, he has very successfully created this climate that this is a grievance, that they're after me. This is not fair. They're after me. And if they get me, they're going to come for you. He has spent the last 7 years stoking these grievances. We used to ask, why is he tweeting at 5 o'clock in the morning? Why is he attacking judges? Why is he attacking the government? Why is he attacking courts? Well, now he's reaping in on that investment. He has convinced his voters the system is biased against them and against him. So it does help him. All the evidence is it helps him with Republicans. Would a trial change that? Would seeing public evidence on television every day change that? You have to keep your mind open to that. But right now, everything tells you it helps him with Republicans. The question is, how much does it hurt him? That's the primary election. Does it hurt him when you get to the general election? Joe Biden is weak. as an incumbent president right now. One thing the Biden people are counting on is that Trump is weaker, is that the key voters in the key places will look at Donald Trump, look at the legal issues, then look at their past history with Donald Trump and say, we can't do this again. So what helps Donald Trump with Republicans might hurt him in the general election. But again, first we have to see the trial play out.
For the Americans, probably this election will be again pro and anti-Trump.
Right.
Could be. For the world is different. For the world is about many other issues. And for someone like me, like our viewers, we are watching the American elections for many reasons. One of the reasons is what the candidates are saying about the war in Ukraine, what the candidates are saying about Russia and Putin. You can understand why. Mm-hmm. And I saw different point of view. It's a flashpoint in the debates. Some of the Republican candidates, they are saying that they won't support Ukraine anymore. Donald Trump is saying that he will make a deal with Putin in 24 hours and he will end the war, okay? Do you think that in the campaign will be a big subject Ukraine, Putin and Russia? And do you think that the candidates will keep their word if they will become the US president? Sometimes politicians are saying in campaigns lies. And what do you think about this subject, which is a big subject for us? Romania has the largest border with Ukraine.
You know, the United States versus the Soviets, right back in the pre-Cold, when the Berlin Wall was still up. Then it was, you know, the Iraq War became a big thing in American politics for a long time. Putin, the NATO alliance, America's engagement in the world, America's role in Europe will be the defining issue in the campaign, with China as the subset, right? Because China's watching all of this. China is the bigger issue for the next 25 years, but how you deal with Putin, Ukraine, NATO, Romania, and especially the European countries like Romania closest to it, who are watching what happens here, what happens to the neighborhood here, a huge issue.
John,